I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll need order of approval of tonight's agenda. Make a motion for meeting. This is a public meeting, just so everybody knows. So from what, since this now is not gonna be special privileges to be here. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So the first thing is the 2025 Mint Festival review. So what I'd like to do is, and I went back and forth about something in my head, how we're gonna run this tonight. I don't want it to be forever, and I don't want it to be like a complaint session. So I think we're gonna start off with maybe Donna, if you got any info that you'd like to talk about, you can start with that. Or anything you want to fill us in on that positives, negatives.
There's not much news since the last meeting.
Okay.
We've been getting, I went through today and through my spreadsheet for the payments for ads for the green paper. We still have about $1,000 outstanding, and I have sent them those businesses, whatever, emails but I'm going to be calling them. I'm going to give them, I figured I'd give them until after the end of the month when they maybe do their bill paying or whatever. And then I'm going to be calling them to try to get their shipments.
I'm sure tonight you're going to talk about your financial report in your own meeting.
Yes, yes.
So I'm not necessarily interested in that.
Okay, but
I am interested in how does it look compared to what it looked last year.
I think it looks good.
Highly successful. Or?
I'm very happy because we have more money in the bank account now than we've had in years after the festival.
Nice. So we would think that it's been a success. The
And
vendors and all the stuff is a success.
and there's only, as far as I can think of, there's only 2 bills yet to be paid that I'm waiting on.
And you're pretty happy with that.
And so I'm very happy with our financial position at this moment.
Good. That's good to hear. I'm sure you guys do that. I'll be in that way something. I'm not so focused on that. I'm more focused on the operational side. So if the financials are working like they should be and they should have been, that's the whole point of the changes was to make the best grow and make it profitable and to be able to.
I will say that we had several people come up to the headquarters booth and tell us how much they liked the vendors being moved from the Catholic Church parking lot onto Keller, making it more cohesive area, whatever. And even some of the vendors, came over and told us that too. So it appears to have been a positive move, and I can see it remaining as that for the next few years anyway. So. Yeah, until if we ever get a carnival back, then that might be an issue because the carnival is usually in the Catholic school parking lot, and I don't know how that would work with vendors, but we'll cross that bridge when if we come to it.
I like good problems. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think that time comes, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, there spoke anyways about that. Or we go Lane, turn down, go down Main.
When
It's all connected.
still use some Keller.
You could still use all of Maine if you needed to.
Yeah.
You could literally go just past the 4-way stop and go down if you want to do that. No, that's not very off.
Right, but so as Cheryl is pleased with our financial condition, as I am, I'm pleased with the response that we've received from the community and from the vendors, from a couple of different organizations, I guess, that they thought that the Mint Festival went well. And we do have one issue that our train caused, and that is where our cow train was on the grassy lot there that is owned by, most of it's owned by Verhagen's. It caused a brown, dry area. And so we are going to address that in the fall when reseeding will take. I'm no gardener, but I'm told by the email string that the reseeding of it will be more successful if we wait until the fall and not in the summer heat.
It looked like a lot of it bounced
I
back.
took a deposit over there yesterday and today, and I walked by today and it's all turned brown. You couldn't hardly tell one spot from the other. It's crazy, but it's been that quick. Yeah.
So this all come back.
I think it will.
But we are aware of that and we will take care of it and we will probably have to
Yeah.
address where we might have a couch training next year. You know, we might have to find another spot for it. It's gonna cause that issue every year, so,
It's a little bit of seed, I'm sure it's on there.
yeah, so,
As long as he doesn't put apartments there and he still let us use it.
yeah.
And it doesn't rain,
I,
because that may be a little, it may get muddy and all that, but
true, yeah. Okay, so what I'd like to do is, I've asked, we had a meeting last night too, the town did. And I've asked everyone, here, and then I know Chad may have some stuff to discuss. As our liaison, but as us as a group, I want everyone to at least have some sort of, questions and or concerns that they brought up, whether they're positive or negative. I know that, I have a few that I've been taken down. I feel like to me, it feels like the manifesto from eternity ago. Today, I started to talk to Chad about things and I couldn't remember. Thankfully, I took some notes, but, so yeah, hopefully we have some feedback here because I know that, yes, there was a ton of feedback positive about the manifesto before and after, meaning like, oh, thank God you guys moved it, finally moved it. I mean, I heard that from dozens of people walking around the festival. I got to hear about, oh, this is so much better. How, why didn't they do this years ago? And I said,
And being,
speak to that. I can't go backwards, but
and being where the headquarters was, we had a pretty much bird's eye view of that whole vendor area and everything. And the crowds, it seemed to be good and steady all weekend long, with the exception of Friday when it rained, but other than that, all weekend long, we seemed to have good crowds there.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it was, the kitty thing was a big deal for me, but I'm not gonna start. Joe, we're gonna start with you. So, if you got, what do you have for us? Anything positive?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of positives. Everybody that came up to me, talked to me, was happy about the moves, happy about the changes. Speaking with some of the vendors while I was there, I even asked some of the vendors, like, how do you feel about the cost? And every vendor I spoke to were like, the costs are cheap. There's fests and fairs that we go to that are triple this. They're like, so I said, so there's no issues with cost. No, nothing. So that was a good thing. Some of the negatives were, obviously we missed some people in the opening ceremony.
I'm sorry, what?
We missed some folks in the opening ceremony that didn't get recognized. That could have slighted some feelings, obviously.
We missed Joe,
I believe they missed Alex. I think they missed Christina,
Yeah, they missed Alex for the town.
and I think they missed you also.
Dina, Chad, and me for the town,
Yeah.
or for the festival.
Yeah,
And
and Jen. So yeah, there was, yeah.
And I did apologize for that, but it doesn't make it, I mean, I didn't announce their names, but it wasn't intentional.
Right. And then we had, I know some of the negatives of parking in Norway. We did hear some complaints, like there's a lot of traffic in and out of Norway all of a sudden. Because, there's 4, 5, 6 vehicles per booth and things like that. And if there's any way we can cut that down next year, that would probably be a great help. I know,
in the middle.
yes.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah.
There was like 15 cars.
And a lot of the feedback I was getting was from some folks that were doing the dunk tank that were taking turns and doing that Saturday. And they're like, there's a lot of kids there and kids running around you're trying to draw kids in, and there's cars back and forth. And they're not necessarily Mint Fest, committee cars, but vendors' cars, all that. So
Entering and leaving Norway there between the library and Norway field itself.
yeah, like in the infield, cars were going by.
mhm. And then, one thing I know, Robin and I, you spoke to me a little bit before the opening ceremony about some issues that were going on. I think sometimes we've got to be very aware of surroundings. I know, obviously, love to hear those issues and stuff like that, but you didn't say the name, but I kind of gathered the family was right there. So, so.
Yeah, but I'd had the issue the whole time and she knew exactly how I felt.
Okay.
And I
well,
told her I was going to be talking to the town board and the committee, and which I have done.
All right. Yeah. And just, I mean, sometimes like the opportune time, maybe. Maybe we'll just hold off on that and we can do it another time and just so,
But
no
I
sense
was
in cause.
expecting problems from there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, so, and I think those were the type of people that weren't gonna cause an uproar right before opening ceremonies, hopefully, so. And then the only thing I had on the utility side, they thought everything went well. We didn't have any problems with electric. I believe there was one vendor that popped the breaker, but that was something that was on their end, not any fault of our electrical grid, so that's the plus. I think water was great for you guys, right? No issues on water.
We haven't been having anything reported.
Perfect. And then, I know Kim mentioned, the big dumpster in Norway, when it got dropped, they kind of dropped it right around the valve areas. So next year she's gonna do a better job making sure the valves are marked, so, and the water meter pits are marked, so that way when that big dumpster comes in, if we can have them be a little more cautious. And
Right away to what area?
Norway, and that big 30-yard dumpster, that kind of where the beer garden area was going.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you go there and look now, it's tore up pretty good. They're gonna have to go level and do some things right there. And we understand there's trash that needs to be hauled out. Just maybe we can tell whoever the vendor is next year, like, hey, be a little more gentler, and then we'll have those meters and things marked with cones so they don't get ran over and damaged. But those are the things I had.
Very good, Joe. Thank you. Andrew?
Just one issue, and I know it was on Sunday. But so as a sponsor, I think there's a T-shirt and all that involved, and I know I usually track Donna down afterwards. And I got shushed at the main table. And I don't know who Dan, I can't remember the name, well, he handles that now. And it was sort of like with those issues that people have, it's like, okay, I get to give you my number, take down a different number, however it is. But I get it, you know, it was Sunday and I know there's probably it's pretty hectic at that time. But that was the only thing, because it's sort of like and it's an afterthought. It's not about the shirt. I wear the shirt all the time, all over the place. So it's sort of like, what's the process for that? For I know I'm not the only sponsor. So it's like, is that part of the perk of it? I just remember that. And I always have to ask Donna after the fact. So that's
But
what I was
that's
just
the
trying to
problem. because
convey that.
We talked about this before. That's a
who-
problem. If someone gives you guys money and you're guaranteeing a t-shirt, it should be a no-brainer. There should be no issue. It doesn't matter if it's my brother or anybody. If they're giving you money for a sponsor, whether it's $40 or $800 or $1,000, they're supposed to get a t-shirt. You guys have to have enough leadership skills to say, somebody's in charge of t-shirts, get them a t-shirt. I mean, that's sad. I mean, and this isn't the first year. This has happened how many years?
A few.
Okay,
Yeah,
and it's happening to
tough to
him.
track it down now.
It's happening to other people. And guess who has to deal with that? We do. We hear about it. Because he's not the only person that's brought this up. So I just think there's more to this than just this t-shirt. It's, yeah, I don't want to get too.
That's the only thing I had. Yeah, yeah.
It strikes a nerve with me about that because essentially that's you're buying the t-shirt. I mean, that's it. You're putting my hard-earned money out there. Again, whether it's X amount of dollars, we can't even get him a t-shirt.
And
So-
it's a cool advertisement too, because every time I wear it at a conference or whatever, somebody asks.
We need
I've heard of
to
it,
bring
but,
t-shirts
you know,
here
that
and have.
No,
We'll
I
tell
think
hand them
you're
out.
right.
I mean,
It
what?
was an oversight on our part that maybe.
It is, it's not, yeah, it's part of it, but it's like,
We'll
Yeah.
put a t-shirt volunteering for, I mean, you turned away volunteers, we wear that. Put them in charge of t-shirts.
When did we turn away volunteers?
Yeah, then we turned right up. Yes, we did.
When?
Saturday.
When?
For,
I don't know what time it was. It was Paula Minix and Jill Beaches
Where did they go?
to the information pen.
Okay, that was me standing there. I did not turn them away. I said, we didn't know anything about it. One of us could leave, because it was me and Robin, one of us could leave, and they said, no, that's okay, and they walked away.
I was told that no one was leaving, they didn't need the help, and they left.
Did not say that.
Okay, well, anyway, regardless, you guys can figure that out, the details out of the volunteer situation, but where I'm going with this is it's gonna be a leadership thing of who's in charge of what. And if someone's in charge of t-shirts every single year, and they can't handle it, then give it to somebody that can. If you need help, you guys don't have enough, we'll find you volunteers. Yeah. Obviously, there's plenty of volunteers out there. Yes, Deb.
I guess I was in charge of getting the t-shirts, but I was totally not aware that the sponsors were supposed to get t-shirts.
There you go.
So I guess I don't have a problem with that. I take care of it for a bait. I usually make sure we have our shirts. I mean, I don't have a problem. I just have to know that.
She bags them up separate. Again, I think it's not an issue that I think we want to get that deep into. We just want to bring it to light that. People complain to us about it. It's an issue.
Yeah.
You guys figure out the, the ins and outs and who's gonna manage it
Yeah,
because.
they're supposed to get, are they supposed to get one shirt or what? I don't even
I
understand
don't
what
know
either.
either.
I think we have the run sponsor, is that right? Anthony?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Run
Okay.
sponsor.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, it's a run sponsor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoever runs the run.
Yeah, boy.
Okay.
Right.
We need to make sure.
Yeah. But as far as that goes, that's like number one thing on my list is we need everybody to have designated jobs of what they're responsible for and really break this down to what it is because there was times I know in the festival where there was just chaos. Nobody knew who was doing what, doing this or who was responsible for what. So I think going into next year, that's going to be a big thing as far as who's in charge. This group here is in charge of this group's here. Everything gets done. Just makes it so much easier.
Well, I mean, if you equate it, what you're saying, it's all about leadership. But if you equate it to how we run board, which, we're obviously meeting every 2 weeks, and it's a whole town, it's a little bit different. But you just equate the way we have to do things outside of our meeting, which is all the time. Joe and I have conversations, Andrew and I have conversations, Frank and I have conversations. I mean, we're nonstop having something going on outside of the meeting. Whether or not that goes on with you guys, I don't know. It's not privy to, nor do I want to be involved in. But if someone has not got assigned territories, like he's the liaison of the police department, she's the liaison to the utilities, he's the liaison maybe to the library. Like those are conduits to things to get things accomplished. So everybody stays in their lane, gets something accomplished, and maybe it would work a little bit better. So I don't know if that happens, but
That's one thing that Jen's been working on is subcommittees.
Oh, we need that.
yeah, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have-
I put it out a whole, I've been working on that.
Yeah, and then you're gonna have to have somebody that's a leader of everything, so that they can always keep.
Coordinate,
yeah.
Alex.
Vendor, were the vendors, what was the response you guys got from them? Did they like it? Did they think it went well?
Somebody that came up to us, or at least when I was at the HQ view, they were very complimentary. They were happy with the move. And they've always been happy with the cost because we are probably the lowest vendor cost of any festival around.
Many have already signed up for next year.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, but the thing with that is though, that's where you're gonna have to do your increases every year or to a point where you're in line or in the same ballpark because you guys turn vendors away this year, as far as I understand. So that tells you right there that, you could increase, I'm not saying increase 40-50%, but you can increase nominally where it makes sense to make money. That's the whole
At
point.
least
is
if they're
to-
5 or 10% on there, that
Exactly.
a little
Yeah,
low.
even if it's 10%,
Yeah,
it makes.
multiple vendors, they sold out from what I gathered from them over the weekend and then had to restock and were just blown away by.
A lot of them said it was.
We
the
sold
best
out
festival
before
they've
6
ever done.
PM and, so that's, that wasn't a negative. That was a good thing for them. They sold out, had to restock and they're doing more than what they thought over the weekend. So.
Vendors is a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge thing. That's the driver, if vendors come back, people will come back. I mean, that's the whole. So, yeah.
Do you guys want to add a lot more vendors like next year, the following year?
Well, the idea with us like saying we're done is prove that you can get people to come
Yeah.
and they have a great weekend. I
Mhm.
mean, they were telling us what their sales were. I mean, it was just, they were floored.
Awesome.
So prove we can support them, then add more. We don't want to just have a billion vendors and none of them make any money.
For the sake of having them.
We
Yeah,
want them to be
No, you don't
telling
want that.
people,
Yeah.
and they were like, hey, my friend that does festivals with me, they sell olive oil and they want to come next year. And this person sells this thing and they want to come next year. So they were sitting there texting all their friends, like, you guys need it next year.
Yeah, I mean, even if we'll find the street, whatever streets make sense. Maybe it's that whole block makes sense. I don't know. But we'll figure that out. I mean, that's
Norway, there's more space at Norway,
Yeah, there's
you know.
stuff that's not,
Well, and we
doesn't have
had
to do
more
with it.
Around the water
in,
tower.
like, there were more people in Norway, but like the weather and stuff, we think some of those not-for-profits just like back then, so we would have had more people in there.
Sure.
There was another couple spots there by the library, behind the library. I'd say there was a spot or two there.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the library there, between the hit zone thing.
There were two that didn't come.
Yeah,
We had,
makes sense.
we had some that were broke down and they couldn't come and.
And then you just turn the corner there, you can just go straight down to there. Anything else?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Linda.
How many times wait to me? Mostly once every other week. It's, I see 2 nights in a row now. Yeah.
Well, I must say, I heard no negativity. Very complimentary. Everybody loved where the food was. Everything was so condensed. But I personally ran into a situation because I tried to hit everything on Saturday. I was there all day. I was at the Magician Show and it was a late afternoon. And it was that empty space on Main between the, from 10 to where the point where people were going back and forth to the point. But the Magician Show, the guys doing the show, and 6 or 8 motorcyclists came in. The profanity was horrible. The magician said, "Hey guys, I'm trying to put on a show for kids here." And they started bad mouthing the guy. So I got up and I went out there and I said, "Look, there's a small children here. We don't need that. Either keep it down or I'm going to have to ask you to leave." But that's the only thing that I know that happened.
Was that
And
after
everything
the
else was
ride,
very
Linda?
complimentary. I'm
Was that
sorry,
after the ride that came in, or
after what?
was it
The
after
ride.
the birthday ride?
It
Or was
yeah,
that
it
just
was.
after?
Yeah, it was Saturday afternoon late.
Yeah.
It was one like
So that leads me to,
4:45.
that's a great point. What you just said is what I did notice too is, I don't know if we need more uniformed police officers. That's really not to me, a big deal, but what we should look into security. And that being, maybe 2 for downtown and Norway and 2 for the festival area itself, just walking. Just being in the area. Daytime security. And that just means for things like exactly she just pointed out, they'll be able to witness those. They've only got a block and a half to walk continually. Maybe you need it for 8 hours, maybe you need it for 10 hours. I really don't know the answer. But I did notice we had a police presence, but there wasn't enough, I would say, as it grows larger. Our police department's not going to get any bigger, so there's not going to be any more people coming. So I think that just uniform security, again, it doesn't have to be police officers. They can report to the police officers. We want Frank to help with that. I'm sure he would have no problem with that. But these are just guys to help them as far as bodies, not arrest powers, just moving people on, asking people to leave, that stuff. If there's any sort of physical stuff get involved, then the police have to get involved. But so I just didn't notice that. I thought, and it would be sure would be nice to have security here. It just feels like it was large enough.
And that's not to say, I saw Frank all over the place.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
right.
I'm like,
He filled a lot of holes.
But
Yeah.
that's.
But I see what you're saying.
Think that's a
These
long-term
instances though, but
fix.
these instances of these situations, to your point, yeah. Yep.
And they should have walkie talkies. They can communicate, with headquarters, something that can really make it, make people feel safe. And be more organized that way too. When they see security walking in and out, those walking around,
definitely help.
that brings down the riffraff.
Yeah.
We may
Coordinate
need
things
to
for
have,
sure.
Because we had
That's safe security on the mountain.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Even the Mint Fest, like a different colored shirt with Mint Fest security on the back.
Exactly,
So it
yes.
doesn't have to be
Doesn't-
anything
Yep, exactly, right, 100%.
like a lime green.
Anything else?
Yeah,
Josh?
stands out.
Yeah, there were a lot of compliments and positive feedback. The tram was a hit.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
came up with that was a winner. The location of kids games. This was kind of the first year I was involved in that a little bit, and that was a great location where it was. A lot of people were there. A question I think when we were driving around Thursday night, given the vendors the option of opening Thursday night, you were set up. I think we talked about it. We talked about a lot of things. But whatever, yeah. I didn't know if that was an option or not. Just everything's set up. But yeah, and that's okay.
I mean, I don't know the legality stuff of it, but I mean, I'm not opposed to anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're set up and want to make money, I mean, the guy next to him doesn't have to.
They're ready.
I mean,
I don't think we can require it, but. if
no,
they're set
I
up
wouldn't
and
require them. If they want to roll.
And will it,
Um,
would it have any impact on somebody else trying to set up?
That's what I was
as
right.
People are coming in and, yeah, and that's what you would almost want.
Point.
It just, if somebody wanted to come in early, you could almost have this area open on Thursday or something like that.
It
But
just-
I get
throw
what
it
your
out,
point.
just
Yep,
throw it
absolutely.
out.
Because there is a lot of
That's something we
activity.
can throw around though.
Yeah.
Start on Monday.
Start on
Fine, fine. I don't have any critical thing anymore, and I don't think anybody else does. So those are my thoughts.
Here,
Most of my stuff's like internal stuff that we just kind of discussed that we gotta clean up, but, I mean, overall, the feedback was great. I mean, a couple small things here and here that we did hear about, which we can discuss, but. Most of my stuff's internal. I mean, really, like, honestly, you know what we need? We need manpower. We need more help. I mean, we added a bunch of people this year and we still need a lot of help.
Well, I think we've had so many people reach out that want to be a part of it this year. I had a message yesterday. I mean, and they're like, I want in, like,
Yeah.
this was great. Like, you guys, we want in, we want to be part of it. When is your next meeting? So I think,
We need some young, strong people like
Yeah.
those Mats and I mean, there's some lot of work to do. We gotta do some good recruiting. So,
or we
and-
just buy masks and don't wait 5 billion.
well, if that's an option, I'm down for that too. Cause those things are freaking heavy.
I suggested cutting them.
That's not a bad idea either.
Yeah.
You'd use it like a grinder or something. But other than that, I mean, most of my stuff's internal, like just how we're gonna set things up and do things. So,
okay, Ted,
Most of my stuff was, since I'm the liaison for you guys, was listening to the community and what they brought up. It wasn't a whole lot during the festival. Now we're 3 weeks later. I got a ton of feedback at the Stark County 4-H Fair. One thing that was brought to my attention that I never thought about, and it was true, is a community member told me to run a successful festival, you have to have time and volunteers. And they did not think that our current MidFest board wanted to put in the time and did not push forward to see the MidFest grow. That was their feeling on the last 10 years.
I think you're 100%.
They liked the setup of Lane Street, or Main Street and Keller. They love that. Got great feedback on the trams, like JB said. The kid zone, it was huge. The one thing that was a little bit disheartening, and I don't know if this is the right time to talk about it. But I'll throw it out there because I don't think it's very professional. One of our committee members was bad mouthing me to another vendor, and it was Papa Farm Pizza. And Lenny never came up and told me. I questioned him about it. He didn't want to get involved. But a community member was standing there ordering pizza when one of our members went up and badmouthed Scotchfield Concessions. And I don't know who the hell these people think they are. They're not going to tell us what to do. They're not running this show. I don't need somebody coming up to my booth telling me one of the committee members is talking smack. I mean, that's not professional. There's things that we handle internally, like Eric said, but it pisses me off. I mean,
So, that being said, your guys, in your meeting here after ours is concluded here, maybe you guys can discuss that.
Sure.
Because I don't know if you're on the email that I got about the same committee member.
well, yeah, I got that one you sent, yesterday or whatever.
Okay, so you got that one. Did you
Yep.
get the one from the citizen as well?
That's the one I was talking about, the one you,
So there's also one from the Pastor James.
okay, I haven't read that one yet. I'll have to read that one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to send that to you.
I don't know if I got that. You may have-
Well, Donna has it
Okay,
because it was sent to me and the North Judson Mid Festival Committee.
Okay.
Wherever that goes. I don't know where that goes.
I went to the old,
as I say, I ain't seen nothing.
because I didn't get anything either, and I used to.
What was it addressing? I reviewed my emails, I mean, daily, probably.
You talking about the one from Pastor
It was
James?
sent to Chrissy
Yes, the one from Pastor.
and it was sent to North Judson
That
Midfest
was Pastor
at
James.
gmail.com. Yeah. Has who has that email?
I had the email.
North Judson Midfest at gmail.com.
Yeah, he sent it to the festival yesterday.
You have that. You're gonna, because that's up to your, everybody to be aware of. Okay. So that goes with the same thing that he's talking about, the same thing that he was talking about earlier, which coincides with the same email I got from the parent. Which he has that.
I do have that.
Okay, good. We can cross that off the list. You guys are going to address that in your meeting. Okay, what else you got, Chuck?
What did you guys think?
Well, I'm going to last because I got a few things, obviously. So I was at MemTest every single day. It was great. Overall, the outside looking in, it was like a big, huge breath of fresh air. And everything, all the changes and we know we're going to have certain hiccups. Things are going to happen. We just know that's how it works. But overall, I thought it was wonderful, and people kept coming up to me and my wife telling us how great it was. How much things were so improved, and obviously we know all the little internal things that still need fixed, but overall it was very positive in the feedback, which is exactly the reason that the town got involved with this. These 4 individuals, the whole reason that they wanted to improve, to help infuse new people, new ideas, new things so that we could grow, so that it could be positive momentum, so that this festival would be pushed in the future as something larger than what it was, or improved from what it was. Would you guys agree with me? Great. So that's the whole reason that we all wanted to get involved. We just wanted to breathe new life into it. I think the citizens were overwhelming with their feedback on that. They could totally see that. Absolutely, please.
I've never seen them leading up to the Mint Fest this year. I've never seen more positive, like people were looking. I've never seen more people look forward to the Mint Fest. Hell, in my entire life, than coming into 2025.
I think I wore my share button out on Facebook. Let me tell you.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, but no, I mean the momentum was bigger than I've ever seen.
I don't know if I've ever seen
My
North Wing
entire
so
life.
full, the stands for the music, everything. I mean, it was just a very positive event. Right. Yep.
So that being said, a couple questions, a couple stuff maybe you guys can push into your meeting to work on. But I will ask, is there a car show representative here tonight? Is he not a part of your guys' deal, or
He is.
is he on his own entity?
He's
Or?
supposed to be, I should say.
Okay, I'm just curious.
To be honest. It's a bit hard to get his, would the committee agree that it's hard to get his cooperation
Yeah.
other than for the car show?
I'm just curious. I've never seen him.
Car shows you're talking about.
Are you talking about the one uptown or are you talking about the one out by the school?
Well, it's been around. I'm here.
Yes, yeah.
I just didn't know. if
We've
he-
had discussions about him before. With him being part of the committee and moving in because he doesn't come to meetings or any of that.
Does something.
Pretty much.
Sounds like he's got a great thing going out there. But the feedback I've gotten also is I've kind of heard the same thing what you just told me. So I was just curious if he had somebody here tonight with that.
John, I think, not to interrupt you, but I think Chrissy has talked to him a few times.
Christina.
Christine, I'm sorry. So maybe that's something you guys are working on.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a communication thing. I mean, I don't think he wants to come to all of our meetings, so I don't care if he's on the committee or not, but. he-
Well, so the reason I'm asking the question isn't just to poke the bear. I have heard from a few community members that have brought to the attention of the donations that are large and where they're going after the fest. This huge car show he's got. And I think sometimes it's benefited North Judson, but other times it's been outside of North Judson. So I think there's people internally there that won't say anything to him, and we can bring that up to him, but they'd like the money to stay locally, like within our community for the police department, fire department, those type of things. So that's just feedback. This is not my feedback. This is people coming to me saying, hey, why would we, not that we don't want to support, the county.
I mean,
Yeah, I get it. I
it's
understand.
not leaving, I mean, it's.
I
it's still
understand,
the
right.
community, and he's doing all that
I was
fundraising.
gonna say that dude works
Outside of-
all year round.
He does. I understand. I got all that. But this isn't something, I don't know enough about it to have really form an opinion. These are people internally that are close to him.
Yeah.
That don't really want to rock the boat,
Sure.
that have brought this to me and said this. So, and I understand that because they want.
It's really. You said internally, you mean internally within the car
Within
show?
his circle.
Circle?
Yeah.
Jeff Circle.
Yeah.
I asked, I don't know if I've asked before for it, but this year I for sure asked for a financial report from him on the car show. And because we take, for instance, we take the insurance and the trash and the porta pots and divide up that expense between that's here, the car show, in Norway, yeah. And he has paid, then we sent him an email with, what the car show share is. And he has paid that generally. And then I also asked him, I said, and our committee feels that it would be appropriate, considering the car show is so financially successful, to make a contribution to the Mint Festival Fund in general. And he did do that.
Which he does every year. It's just
but
this year we were specific in the amount.
Okay, good.
I think last year it was $600 he donated, and this year she asked him for 1,000. Well, she already submitted an extra check for $1,000.
You guys can decipher through that. Just know that there are people within his circle that are not necessarily okay with where the money that's being donated. I'm told it's quite a bit of money.
Just substantial amount of money.
Just my opinion.
$10 a car and.
Yeah.
All the raffles.
But all the donations he gets,
Yeah.
he gets.
Corporate donations. is what it's all-
Exactly, right, yes. Yes.
When you're a vendor, basically.
In our area.
Our area, you basically pay 10% to the Mint Fest of your profits.
If you're a food vendor.
If you're a food vendor, that should be the same way all over. I mean, if we're gonna make money,
That's
everybody else is making tons of money.
Sure, yeah, I think that's the point I think of. The leadership team, you guys have to identify that stuff and then make everything correct, fair, equal, fair. Yes,
Yeah,
so whatever that is, the same across the board.
I agree.
I've always wondered why that was different. If there was.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see all the numbers and see if we can somehow work that in where it makes sense, because I agree. I'm not sure the Legion and, the other people down there should be paying percentages when everybody else gets offered.
Yeah.
Well, but they don't pay, I mean, they only pay a $35 vendor fee too. They don't pay for the electric. They don't pay for a lot of that stuff.
Well, neither does the vendors that are out there. Basically, they don't pay that much for the electric, right? And what do they pay?
It's like $50, $30.
Yeah, there you go.
But as far as vendors in Norway, the only ones that ever really do what they're supposed to do are those two sitting in the front row right there.
So the other thing is, I guess, if I was in charge, I would just consider cutting loose. He can do his own partial out there on that weekend. Just let him be in charge of his own stuff. Yes. He's not gonna be involved, don't let him get involved, don't let him then reap the benefits.
How long has that car show been going on?
A long time.
But that's, why is it not been addressed?
It
I'm just saying it out loud, like,
it had committee meetings, concerns about him not attending at least one meeting to report on, before the Mint Festival or after the Mint Festival or something. And I know that's our problem, that we need to address that, but
Well, at this time, you guys still control that, right?
yes.
Just remember,
that's
don't forget, you control it, not Jeff.
That's
one of the days.
Said for financial report this year and.
So, yeah, you guys have to figure that out, because you can have your own car show if that's the case. You got a great team going, it's gonna be nice to work it out. Okay, so I just had that question. I just would say again, like Chad brought up, people talk to us, bring these things up to us. We don't always see everything. One of the things someone brought to me was, how does someone on your committee become the father of the year? Well, that was very odd. Was he not the father of the year?
Yeah.
You were the father of the year, right? You're a voting member of the board. So that's not normal. In normal terms of like board, you can't be in contests and things like that. So I
There's no
understand the
problem,
process.
but the people that read those letters aren't even from the county.
I understand.
Still doesn't.
And yet that's just our purview. People are asking me how someone on your board is the father of the year. I'm not saying he's not a great father. I'm not saying that wasn't done legitimately. I don't mean any of that. I don't mean no disrespect to your father. I'm just saying that I cannot be in the Christmas light contest. My wife spends thousands of dollars on Christmas lights. It's not, I couldn't do it. It's
I know
not
that
right.
there's a couple of people on the committee that the grandfather of the year.
Yeah, that probably shouldn't have been done.
Okay.
But here we are. So, I'm just saying, I would consider that again. not charged, so I'm not telling you have to do that. I'm just saying that it's not a good look. It's a perception.
Perception.
Yeah, it's not a good look, that, you know, that's how it turned out, even though it's just being above board. Somebody brought up to me, I don't even know who told me about this stuff, but maybe a committee tent down in Norway Field somewhere, somehow. Just to have two locations, maybe.
Info tent or something?
Yes, yeah, something like that. You look about that?
No,
You give that
but,
to me?
no, but I think that's the idea.
It's a good idea, but
Somebody
we need people
We need
because
a
we had
lot of
trouble
people,
running
yeah.
the one.
Issue.
We're not signing that up until we get more people because we had trouble keeping the one staff, so.
Yeah, so again, I don't know, I honestly don't know. And then again, I think you didn't really talk about, we're not really concerned with dollar amounts in our little meeting here, but like the t-shirts and the stuff you were selling, the cookbooks, mint oil, is that something that you guys did well with this year, or is that something that? Yes.
I will say Christina brought us 33 koozies that she had made up
In the beer garden.
into the beer garden. And we sold them all but 5 on Friday night. So is it something? And we sold them for $3. Well, we sold them for
What? Yeah.
6 beer tickets and a koozie or 7 beer tickets and $3. So, but they were excited.
So the reason I bring that up is because whoever I spoke with, we're trying to purchase these things from the table, and I think they were able to. Was it you I talked about this? I think it was you. Oh, well, because it was your friend about purchasing these items. The cookbook? Yeah, cookbook and the other items. So I think more people would want these if they were broadcast and if they were more in the open for them to purchase.
Success.
Thank you. And I think if you had someone that was solely in charge of them and the amount of money that we're taking for each item, it's the same for everybody. So if mint oil is, I have no idea how much it is, but say it's $3 or it's $10 or whatever it is, someone is or there's a group of people that are in charge of selling stuff. It just isn't you randomly handing this out. Follow what I'm saying? Like there's a group that is charged, because if it's gonna make money, that's the whole point.
Hand any of that out. We charge for all of it.
Yeah.
It's at the information booth. and-
Yeah.
But is there accountability for it?
But
So,
there's not only the information, I have it at the Cooking with Mint contest, so also to sell.
so how's your accountability for that? How many t-shirts do you sell?
I don't do t-shirts, I just do. Now listen,
Very good.
the mint oil, the cooking, cookbooks and the canned. Is the only thing that we promote, since it's Cooking with Mint, like promote the mint on
Do you know how much money we can share on that, or you think? Do you have any? I don't wanna know, but do you know?
pretty much, we've got an idea.
Okay, well, I'm told that there is no. So the accountability, that's very low as far as how much has came in, how much has gone. And that's a problem with the whole picture of, people want that stuff and they come and they wanna know, well, my brother paid $5 for this, but this one didn't pay this and that. So just know there are people out there discussing. So maybe they would purchase them more if it was more organized. Accountability and organization, I think, is pretty big. And I think,
Well, the merchandising especially, I think there's an opportunity. I mean, Deb even just hinted to it. She's sold out basically of those in half of a night. So we got opportunity to raise more money here. We just gotta organize it and structure it in a way that makes sense. So.
Yeah, we could do, if we could find somebody to man it. And Terry and I talked about this because we had several people looking for ATM machines, and I know the bank right there has one. But why couldn't we do like an ATM machine, ice machine? That we sell bags of ice.
Oh, vendors would love that. Too.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the ATM machine, and then also have that set up at the same in the same area. I mean, that would be a great
Shopping is right, I'm concerned.
money maker.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that's I think it's the ice about getting in touch with an ice company about coming here and just selling ice for the vendors and everything. I
Home
discussed that
City
before,
or-
Her and I discussed that too.
yeah, I think a big, so I think that's pretty much, is there anything else I need? You're aware of?
No.
That you were gonna.
There's some other stuff,
We're
there's a
gonna
couple
bring
more
it
things, but
here.
I'm gonna let you guys handle that in your own meetings. Um, there's one other thing, but I'm not gonna bring that up right now. I think that, the rest of it can be probably discussed within internals.
Just to piggyback on that, the merchandising side, I know like keychains, koozies, people love that stuff, and that's on your key. Somebody looks at that and they say, oh, and you can even do that here's theme with a graphic and that kind of thing. People will buy that stuff up. They love it. And you make it part of, you sponsor this, you get a shirt in this, or you're a winner, but you get your trophy and you get some swag, that kind of thing. And that's just free advertising out there as it's out there. But it's people to work that booth and manage that and sell that.
Sure, yeah, and that's kind of where I was gonna go with that. I walked out there, but was the leadership at the festival. I think that's important for this, basically your subcommittees, and then your leaderships of those groups. So if there's not that communication, that's the only way that's gonna get bigger is if that improves. Because if it doesn't improve, then it's gonna fall apart. This year you got through it, right? But it gets bigger and more and bigger and more, and you're talking about adding these things, which are all wonderful. You're gonna have to have that leadership at the top that can handle tough questions at the tough times. You're gonna have to have leadership at each post, whatever post those are. That's why when we talk about having another spot down by Norway, you gotta have somebody that's controlling all this stuff. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. It just can't be hanging out at this thing and just watching. Like there's probably gonna be a lot of work involved. And that leads to the volunteer part. He sent me earlier a picture of Power from the Past, right? Is that right? And he said about all of the help they have there, as far as volunteers. I mean, there's like 80. Well, I counted 50 as the top. I thought I stopped. So let's say there's 65 people they have between their board of 5 people. Their board is actually, I don't know.
There's 2 vice presidents.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 people on their board, and there's directors, and there's probably 12 directors, and then there's 60 people that are just volunteers. Now, these volunteers maybe only 2, 3 hours or 4 hours, and that's okay because that's maybe all you need. But that's what you got to kind of look at. You got to look at this. Needs to be like anybody and everybody that wants to help. Let's put them in some small slot somewhere where they can benefit and we can benefit. So, just makes it a lot smoother for everybody else. So I thought that was pretty eye-opening to me when I thought about, I sat there with you guys, there was 10 of you, and then there's 65 or 70 of these. That's significant. So, okay. Is there anything else? I don't have anything else on my list. That was everything from me. Chrissy, did you want to say anything, or Christina? Because you guys were kind of interjected by us a little bit. So
It's all basically the same talk there.
you guys can have your own meeting now and talk about whatever it is you want. Eric, do you have anything else? Thank you for this undertaking of
Been fun. I've learned a lot.
what it takes.
Look to learn more. But no, I mean, everything else we'll discuss in our meeting, but we got a lot of positives to build on. And we got a lot of stuff to improve on, but we gotta start now. It's a lot of work. Let's get it going. So figure it out.
Chad, you want to, I'll see you there. No. Okay. We're out. We're done. So we need to adjourn. Yep. Big motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor? Thank you.
thank you.
Yes.